Okay, Ed, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm just here for the meeting to see what kind of violations that I've been doing.
I think you received a letter that saying.
Right, but you know, I mean, it's hard to read, understand, and interpret those ordinances. I mean, the way they're written, they're so vague. I mean, it says, you know, there's like 5 of them there. 5 violations or something I was supposed to, you know, I mean, things have been status quo on that property for the last 3 months. I mean, as far as any arrangements of equipment, signage has been, and then, you know, so, you know, I'd like to just be brought up to speed on what actually, you know, I need to come in compliance with.
Do you have a copy of
pictures, you know?
A lot of resend? Does Lynn have that? Or do you have
Quite limited to it.
Do you have the sample? I'll turn it on. Yes. Oh, that's very good. Sorry about that. Busy.
Can you just make a copy of that?
That's for that.
Yep, this is what I received. I mean, short of being F.Lee Bailey, you know, these are vague. I mean, and so can you, somebody help me out with these? Tell me where I'm in violation. Tell me what I gotta do to, you know, be compliant.
It's right there. It's,
Is there pictures?
Couldn't be any more self-explanatory.
Well, the signs on the main sign on the street, you know, we're running 2 businesses out of the property. I was actually gonna come up here and ask for, you know, exactly explain to me what I'm allowed. I mean, yes, I know what this says. It's not to exceed 60 square feet. But when you have a multiple business on a property, things, you know, they tend to get, you know, vague in what you're allowed and what you're not allowed. I mean, and I'd appreciate any help, you know, short of elementary, you know, briefing on what I'm supposed to do.
I don't have a copy of the letter, but I'll take it.
Julie, do you have any pictures I can see that you can help me out with?
I don't think I have the current pictures with me.
You had took it some.
Yes. We discussed that on the phone.
you know, I've witnessed, and it's not in this, I've witnessed your sign being too close to a highway. You know
Which
what I'm saying?
sign?
The little sandwich sign or whatever you
Oh,
got
you
there.
mean the
I've seen that.
A-frame
Yeah,
sign?
that's been right on the highway.
Well, it's
Depending
right
upon
in-
your discretion, what day you wanna do it, some days it's back, some days it's right on the park, some days you had your trailer out there with a big sign right across it, which is, in anybody's world under imagination, is trying to stretch your advertising and signage, you know.
That's the stretcher advertising as we go up the road.
If you're
and-
leaving it right in your front lawn, Ed.
Well, I mean, we're getting
Yeah,
ready
that's
for a
ridiculous.
tour, you know,
No, I sit there for days, Ed. I go by there pretty regular, don't just tell me the real story, just putting it out there for advertising.
Then if that's what you think, and that's okay, what you think.
Well,
I'll pull it up top, it does, you know, I'm trying to.
Well, that'd be one of the
compliance.
violations, if that
You know,
stays out of sight,
You know,
of a
I'm trying to
roadway.
work here with
Well, you
you.
come in here acting like you're wondering what we're talking about, Ed. Come on.
No, I'm
Come on.
dead serious. I don't covertly try to get over on
Your
the town
equipment
of Bartlett
is
for my
hedging
signage.
onto being too close to the right of way most of the time, any busy weekend. During the week it stays back. Busy weekends I go by there and it's hanging right out by there.
There's a water shut off from the town right there to the center line. That is 30 feet. That metal pipe sticking is 30 feet to the center line, and
Center
5
line.
feet from that is a 35-foot setback. I don't go over
From
the
the
30,
center of the line, what line?
the highway line.
Well, you're not talking 35 feet from the center of the highway line. You're
Yeah.
talking from the front, around the right of way, as far as I understand.
I
The
was
state
always
right of
told-
way, no. It says state right of way. Nobody goes from 35 feet from the state center of the line will leave you right on the highway most of the time. You know, it's off the state highway right away. You go 35 feet further into your own property.
Yeah. Well, when I had the sign.
Because we went over this quite a bit, Dad, last year. That's one reason why we have a hard time believing that it's so foreign to you at this point in time. I remember walking the property with you. I remember going up over the snowmobile things with you. I remember explaining that there's 35 feet from any property line, not just the state property
Yeah.
line. We've gone over that. So we find it a little frustrating when you come in and act like, geez, I don't understand why you're upset.
I'm not upset.
No, that's what I'm
I'm
saying,
not
but,
upset at all. I
but
came
I
in here
guess-
to try to work things out.
well, we've explained it to you prior, Ed. We went to court and the judge explained it to you prior.
The judge.
Didn't you get found guilty as far as zoning?
No, I
went?
pleaded guilty to a violation, one particular violation, to, you know, circumvent going to court and whatnot. I mean, I should have never pled guilty to it. I can see where that was, you know, where that's going. You know, I already talked to my attorney to see if I
Do
could
you remember us
withdraw my
going over
plea
the,
on that.
before where your equipment can be stored, right? You remember us going over that in person on property? I think Mr. Tangway was up there that day?
No, that was Mr. Shedd.
Mr. Shedd was there at that point?
You know,
It doesn't change in the winter or summer. It's 35 feet from the property line.
yeah.
So that's not a concept that's hard to grasp. You know, you can't go out to measure from the state line at the center of the road. It was never even said at the center of the
I mean,
road.
if cars pull in and they, you know, they're parking and they're doing business, I mean, you know, sometimes, I mean, you know, things are gonna fall out of bounds. I mean, you know, as a business goes, I mean, on a busy Saturday, we get a high influx of traffic, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I try to do the best to keep the property mowed, clean, and equipment that's out there set in accordance with the ordinances. I mean, I police it as best I can, you know.
What's the total square footage of signage on your property right now?
You know, my business, the little man in the Forest Edge Antique Shop, are an asset to the community. I mean, so,
What's the total square footage of signage on your property right now? You're monitoring your compliance, so you must know that.
well, I know the sign out front is, you know, the main sign is, you know, I feel
But
that
it'd be all
it's not
signs.
enough
All signs
sign.
that's visible from the highway would be counted. It's not just the main
Right.
sign, it's the antique sign sitting
Yeah.
up against your building, it's your little man signs that are still all over that building. They haven't been
Right.
taken down. You know, I mean, any
Those
sign
things
is
have been up
visible
there
from the
for years.
highway. But yes, but now you've added other signs to go with it.
Well, that antique sign that's up against the antique shop, that thing there, you know, that's not, that's an item to be sold, but I'll bring that to my parents' attention to take it down.
Well, you're running an antique shop and you got an antique sign out there, we're not supposed to count it as signage. I mean,
Right,
I
I
mean,
understand. No, I understand.
yes,
I understand, and we'll remove that sign because that thing, you know,
But
belongs in the fire
that's just
pit
one
as far
sign.
as-
We need to know how many square feet of signage are visible from the highway
Yeah,
on your property. And you do have a certain amount of square feet you're allowed to, but if you don't have any idea what you've got out there, how would you know you're in compliance?
well,
Because
I've
we
never
can't
got out, you know, measured, I mean, it's been there for years, I mean, you know,
It's counted in the square
You
footage.
know, I'm not a surveyor, I'm not, you know, I'm not a mathematician, you know, I'm just a business owner, you know, I wanna come in compliance and do the right thing, cause I don't wanna, you know, be doing this every month, I mean, coming down to see you guys down here, I mean, you know, right now, I'm considering selling the property because, you know, I'm so fed up with the stuff, I'm thinking about just selling and moving out of town, you know, because that's the way it is. And actually, the property's up for sale, so. You know, we run a good business, you know, if we step over the line, it's not with intent, there's no intent that we stepped over the line. You know, like I said, I'm not a surveyor,
Well,
I'm not
quite often
up on
somebody
that.
would come
I'm
down
very
ahead of time.
negligent in the knowledge of this stuff, you know, and I asked just for
We
a
brought
little.
you up to speed in the knowledge last year,
All right.
Ed, when we cited you before.
Well, I'm here
and when we went
now.
over it on
With-
site with you, where things could be
Yeah.
stored and where things couldn't be stored.
Yeah,
That wasn't much more than, it wasn't even a year ago, I don't think.
yeah.
So I guess
Well,
we're
I'm here
tired of
now
having to go
asking for
on site
direction.
and having to go over the same thing that we went over before.
Yeah.
You know, I guess that's what I get upset about. When I see people hauling stuff down into areas where we've already clearly been told they can't go, I don't think there's any confusion to it. I think it's an entrepreneur trying to drive up business on a busy weekend. And the thing of it is, other people have to stay in compliance with the sign ordinance. So it's
I don't
not
wanna
fair
be
that one
treated
business.
any different than anybody else. I don't wanna be treated any different.
Then I guess we need to know what the total square footage of your signage is on your property. It's visible from the highway. And then the ordinance, which you have one, I'm sure, will tell you how many is allowed on your property.
Yeah, I mean, if you, actually, now that, you know, there was never another business in the summertime, I mean, if you could help me out, I mean, I don't think I have enough square footage on that sign. I gave my parents half the sign, you know, and we're two businesses, I mean, we should be allowed a little bit more. I mean, right now, that sign is 8 foot wide and 5 foot high. You know, like I said, I don't have math skills, but, you know. But I was hoping to get a little more square footage on that street sign. Because business is really down and things aren't looking good. I mean, not to say a bigger sign would, you know, give us more business, but so we do advertise in local periodicals throughout the valley.
Well, you're aware that when you are contemplating another sign, that you need a permit.
No, I'm just talking about.
Excuse me, I'm speaking. All signs require a permit. What you probably should do is measure all of your signs, count the number of signs that you have, and then come down and apply for a permit.
Photograph each sign, do the
Photograph.
measurement,
Right.
come down, get a permit to do it the right way. You're already over your square footage. You're gonna have to get rid of some signs before you start changing signs.
If your main sign is 8 by 5, that's 40 square feet. You're allowed 60 square feet. Plus another 16 square for the second business. Although it might be the second business owned by the same person. I don't know. So that would be my recommendation, that you measure and count and come down and apply for a permit. Determine what you want the signage. You know what the problems are, Mr. Furlong, so this is a chance to straighten it out.
Yeah.
No, I just need it back to.
Well, this is a
Or
chance
we
to
go
create-
back to court,
Yeah.
which as you recall, the judge
Well,
left that open.
left that open for a year, yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's all there is to say.
Yeah, until we get, find out what the signage is on the property, and get a sign application, you know, and
And draw out on a piece of paper each and every sign with its square footage. Or take a picture of each sign and its square footage. And come and apply for a permit, and we will work with you and tell you what you can have and what you cannot have.
See, the thing with me is, what's hard for me is I ride through town and I see what I have and I see what other people have, and I said, geez, you know, I must be in compliance because they got more signs than I do, you know. Vehicle, add attach ski resort parks their van right down there. It has, you know, add attached Bear Peak, and it's an old van. It's probably in the 70s. I mean, it seemed to me a big corporation, but you know. So then you tell me about my trailer that has a sign on it, me parking. So I'm saying, well, geez, you know, and I just compare, you know, to me, in my mind, I feel like, you know, I'm not breaking any laws because I don't know, you know, I don't carry one of these in my back pocket to say, I just look and compare. So therefore, you know, I feel that, you know, by and large, that I'm always in compliance until I receive, you know, letters that says I'm not. And then I said, geez, you know, must have been a lot of people in this town that got the same letter because, you know, either, you know, or either that or other people get showed favoritism. I don't know. I don't know.
any lot that we're aware of is out of compliance gets dealt with.
Yeah.
Some lots are grandfathered. Some businesses
Okay.
are grandfathered.
Right.
You would
Well,
be one of them. As far as I know, you're not. I mean, if you are, let me know. I don't think they're grandfathered for anything up there other than the original
I
signage.
mean, that,
When zoning went in, they grandfathered for that amount, you know, but not, you know.
I
it's
mean, I
not-
can't go back when the Abenaki Motel and the Target Motel were there, and
No,
I do have a few pictures, but none of them really show anything that would.
We have a picture probably of what was on the property
This
at
is
the
the
time.
extent of the grandfathering.
That's what's in place when zoning started, and that's what we're grandfathered for.
There was nothing on any of the units or the town units.
Okay, all set?
I don't know. Are we? I mean, do we come to, you know,
We didn't come to anything yet. You got a letter that you have to comply with, that's all. That's what
well,
it says.
the antique sign that's up against the antique shop, that we'll remove that, because that's, you know, and then I guess I'll go out and measure and make sure everything's up to snuff.
And apply for any.
You know, I just appreciate it, you know,
New signage.
anything, you know, to come, you know, Julie's welcome down on the property anytime, you know, to speak with me at any time. She has my cell phone number, and, you know, I just appreciate a heads up, you know, instead of getting letters in the mail that are certified. I mean, you know, this is a small community, and I felt, you know, I thought it's kind of like a family, big family. But, you know, when I get letters that are certified, you know, that blows that right out of the water. You know, I just appreciate a little more personal contact when something is wrong.
I
you
guess
know,
the fact that we made personal contact when something was wrong already.
Never.
And we walked your site yet.
right, but you never come up and approach me on site and say, hey, Ed.
With
you
the
know,
snow machines. The same rules apply in the winter
Yeah.
as they do in the summer. Summer,
right,
winter,
and
they
nobody
don't
ever
change
approached me in the
seasonal.
winter and said, hey, Ed, you know.
We walked your site with you. And we told you that where these things had to be, you know, we took,
I don't know when you walked it with me. I don't.
they had to be set back 35 feet.
I never recall that. I never recall you on my property in the capacity of selectmen talking to me. I just don't.
Oh, I thought we were up there. I don't know. Maybe we weren't.
No,
I know we gave
no.
you instructions up that.
The only instructions I got was in the form of a certified letter, being very, you know, accusatory, you know, and if I need to be accused of something and I'm wrong, I'll be
Did we
the
go
first
over
one
it
to
last
admit.
time?
I'll
The
be the first one
35
to
feet is
admit
your
it.
setback, did we go over this, so it was very clear to you by the time you got out of court, that 35 feet is the setback for vehicles?
Yeah,
Okay,
Mhm.
then I guess in the sign.
well, I mean, my parking is my parking. You know, I mean, that doesn't apply to when people pull in to park a car. I mean, for God's sake, they'll be up where my swimming pool was, parking up top there. I mean, right? I mean, that doesn't apply to that, when people pull in to park.
I don't know.
Parking is parking.
That's not part of this discussion, Mr. Furlong. Mr. Furlong, we're talking about setbacks and signage.
For things to sell, and things to rent.
And as far as contacting you, I have a folder here with a history that goes back several years of letters that started out as friendly reminders and ended up in court.
Yeah. And then you have
And
letters from my sister, when my sister owned the property as well, I guess.
I think that we've made it clear what you need to do. And these gentlemen are busy and I'm busy and you're probably busy. You know what you need to do. You choose to do it or not to do it.
Which sounds like you're angry, I mean. You're not angry, are you, Julia?
No, Mr. Furlong, I'm not angry. I'm just very happy.
Well, I'm glad you're happy.
But I do have another
I mean,
meeting to go to in Berlin, so. May I excuse
Good.
me?
Yep.
Thank you.
Stack them up 3 at a time.
you know, I feel like I'm a criminal here, you know? This is no, you know.
I think all we asked you to do is measure signage, make applications like everybody else has to for signage. I don't see anything criminal thing going on
Well, I
here.
just feel, you know, a sense of, you know, animosity or, you know, or friction here. It's not like, you know, hi Ed, good morning, you know.
Like
you know,
Julia said, the
I mean,
friendly
this is like a
reminders went out
stop
2 years ago. You've had numerous friendly reminders sent to you. We couldn't get you to do much until we actually took you to
I'll
court.
just sell the place and then you won't have to worry about me no more. Or the little man or anything else.
All you have to do is come into compliance like every other business does in town. We can't let one not be into compliance while other ones act. If you know if a business is out of compliance and you think it is, give us the name and we'll make sure they're in compliance.
When was this grandfather, in 85?
I guess it's 85.
Well, what about across the street in Napa? He's got that big Napa sign. Napa wasn't even around in 85.
But he applied for his permits. He has sign permits for everything out there. It's not saying you can't put up another sign after 1985, Ed, but there are regulations to the signs. Is in compliance. Do you think he's out of compliance? You want us to take a look at it?
No, I'll submit a application for signage and we'll go from there.
That way yeah, that's the best way to go out.
All right, thank you.